Hello, welcome to Poetry Changes Lives. Back in the garden again, the drought-hit garden, plants withering all around me, but my enthusiasm is not withering, and my recognition of the power of poetry is not withering either. I'm going to read an inspiring poem in a minute about the power of passive resistance, non-violent resistance, and I know it's going to make me feel happier. At the moment I feel a bit anxious about the state of the world, as many of us do, but let us give ourselves a bit of therapy instead of sitting with our anxiety. PoetryChangesLives.com is the website. You can read all about this, all about my book, Poetry Changes Lives. It's, you know, I'm only asking because I do feel that poetry is a really powerful force that can help so many people. And I say that because it's helped me, and it's going to help me today. I guarantee I know I'm going to feel better in just a few minutes after I've read this. I'm now going to read what's written in my book for this day. On this day in 1819, at St. Peter's Field in Manchester, a British cavalry regiment charged into a political gathering, killing 15 people and injuring over 400. Can you imagine that happening today? Well, I hope it doesn't happen ever again. It was a real moment of shame for the British government at the beginning of the 19th century, and it's not so well remembered these days, but wow, a crowd gathered for peaceful purposes just in protest, 15 of them killed and many others injured by their own army of their own country, ordered by their own government. Dreadful. It's really, we should think about it more. An eyewitness to the massacre wrote, "Within 10 minutes the crowd had been dispersed for the cost of many dead and many injured. Only the wounded, their helpers, and the dead were left behind. For some time afterwards there was rioting in the streets." I bet there was rioting in the streets. Well, of course, when news broke in the wider world, people were appalled, and many English expatriates, like many of the poets of the time, Percy Bysshe Shelley, living in Italy, and Lord Byron, travelling Europe, and of course William Wordsworth. You know, they were all passionate advocates of the rights of man and were absolutely devastated by realizing their own government could attack its own people in such a dreadful way. And bear in mind, you know, the French Revolution hadn't taken place that long ago, about 25 years previously. So, you know, it was a dreadful moment of shame. The event was contemptuously called the Peterloo Massacre after the Battle of Waterloo, of course, but people really were angry, and it took a long time to overcome that sort of contempt of government that followed on. Well, Percy Bysshe Shelley wrote a poem criticizing the government, his own government, and inspiring, he hoped, people to continue with non-violent protests, which is only really an idea that started at the beginning of the 19th century. But he was so passionate, he wrote this. It's a good poem, this. Maybe not as great as, but it's very inspiring, called The Masque of Anarchy, his response to the Peterloo Massacre. Here we are. Stand ye calm and resolute, like a forest close and mute, with folded arms and looks which are weapons of unvanquished war. And if then the tyrants dare, let them ride among you there. Slash and stab and maim and hew, what they like that let them do, with folded arms and steady eyes, and little fear and less surprise. Look upon them as they slay, till their rage has died away. Then they will return with shame to the place from which they came, and the blood thus shed will speak in hot blushes on their cheek. Rise like lions after slumber, in unvanquishable number. That's Shelley calling on his fellow countrymen to take up the cause of non-violent resistance. And of course, it is, as he says, folded arms and looks which are weapons of unvanquished war. People recognize what a powerful weapon non-violent protest was, and it was taken up by the likes of Mahatma Gandhi and all the sort of nuclear disarmament, and people today, it's really a very powerful force still. And it was all started in the early 19th century by people like Thoreau and Shelley and a lot of other wise people. I've really greatly admired their enthusiasm and inspiration. Today I ask that I will not fear to stand up for what I believe is right. It's a great thing to hope for. Gosh, I do tend to rather, let others do the heavy lifting, but I need to do more myself. Bertrand Russell was arrested at the age of, I think it was 88 or something like that, for non-violent anti-nuclear bomb protests in Britain years ago. Think about it all. I wish you all a good day. Thank you for listening.